Welcome to Fashion Neurosis, Laurie Anderson.
Thank you.
Can you tell me what you're wearing today and why you chose these particular clothes?
You know, it's so dreamy. You know, I don't know if even anybody's here. I can hear you, but anyway, I got this kind of garage mechanic thing that I like. That I'm ready to fix things, and this thing has a lot of pockets, which I like, and super comfortable. So it's like, I have a few of these, but they all look the same. Yeah. And it makes it simple, you know, when you just have one color and then one pair of shoes, that's it. So that's what I'm wearing.
I like the white watch strap over your sleeve. That's kind of seems like a code.
A code? Okay. Let's see. I do love codes, but I wonder what it's a code for. I guess if you're at a shrinks, it is important to kind of think about when the time is up, you know. Tick, 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 you know. It's so expensive to see these people. It's like, I guess you want to get your money's worth with. But I don't know. I did think about what to wear, but I that passes through my mind so fast that I just don't really, you know. So when I think fashion neuroses, tell me about how you approach that.
Well, I wanted to tell the stories from fashion, which sounds a bit banal, but it's the actual stories of designers are so eccentric and outlandish, and most people in fashion are capable of solving world peace in a second. I mean, we have to overcome all these impossible things, how to get horses on stage or ink all over someone's dress, or even to get them how to show things and how to make things. And I was interested in all the code and the language, and I just wanted, I thought people are much more interested in clothes than they realize, and then I became obsessed with the whole idea of it, of that being a way in for people, a way in to understand how people feel and think, and also about what you choose to hide and what you choose to reveal through what you wear. And I find that fascinating. I've got friends who, when they're really depressed, wear almost nothing, and others like me who wear sort of, you know, head to toe plastic bag, if possible.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I'm kind of stuck on, did you say horses on stage?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just way back there because I just kept thinking of that as a problem. Like, it's a really interesting problem to get a horse on a stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to get some ponies on stage once. And it was a very weird situation because I was in a... Did you ever have to come up with a plan B really fast and you didn't have one? I had to do that with a project that I was doing. And so I was doing one thing, and then they said, and it didn't work out at all. This was a big exhibition. And they said, well, what's your plan B? And I was like, plan B? I don't have one. So I said, how about if I do a huge panorama of American history, and there would be all these floats going on, like JFK would be getting assassinated on one of them, and there would be other events from American history. And then I was going to make this was going to be over at the Park Avenue Armory, and I was going to have a Western landscape with little kids with mustaches as cowboys, and just about expansionism, and then the miniature ponies, and they were like, "That sounds good." I was like, "It doesn't really," and So they said, but we do need to get to posters and PR done really quickly. And I was like, oh, it seems kind of backwards. You don't have a... So I got a lot of ponies and little... and brought them in for the photo shoot onto the stage. And that was very hard. So when you mentioned this problem, I just kind of went over that way.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a drifty evening. But, ponies... One of my sisters is a horse trainer, and she said, if ponies were people, they'd all be in jail because they're mean. Ponies are mean, and they're biting, they're kicking. They're very hard to control. So in fashion shows, when you have a horse on the stage, what is the point? You just for you as a designer. I mean, I know it's nice to have nature and fashion together, but did you ever have to get a horse on the stage yourself?
No.
Good. Okay. Yeah. But you knew people who did?
I didn't, actually. I just...
Well, that's what metaphor is about. And, you just dream up things and, you said before you thought some people made up their dreams?
Well, the very little I know about Sigmund Freud, my great-grandfather, one of the few things my father mentioned was that apparently people would come and tell him their dreams, and sometimes they'd just invent things to be more interesting. But he realized that, and he analyzed those as well, which... I was excited to hear about. It somehow seemed like you could be your real self and a bit extra, and there was still something to be discovered instead of being banished from the room for making stuff up.
My impression is that all dreams are inventions. No?
Oh, I dream all the time, and I've been terrorized by loads of dreams. And my worst dream are running order dreams, running order for fashion shows where I'm having a show and I don't know what's coming down the catwalk, and I don't know if I've even made it, and some of the things are all unfinished, and it's just the most demoralizing dream. And I've had countless of those dreams.
Those seem to be the most popular ones, the ineptitude dreams, right? I mean, why don't we have these dreams of everything just the most wonderful fashion show with the horses, and it's your fashion show, and but it's much more typical, of course, to dream of being lost or failing, or and. But that's your experience of dreams as well?
I once had a really great, I don't know if it was a great dream, but about 25 years ago, I dreamt that I was walking down the street, but I had this moustache bleach on, which I somehow had gone out of the house and I'd left it on. And then I bumped into John Malkovich on the street, and I was trying to pretend not, hoping he wouldn't see me, and he rushed up and embraced me, and some of the moustache bleach went onto his face.
Wow. And then what? Then what happened? You woke up.
That was the end of the dream. There wasn't any happy ending.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, who's writing this stuff, It's really just so unsatisfying. But
I wanted to ask you, I've been immersed in your world preparing to be with you here tonight, and your voice seems to wrap itself around my heart, and it has this intergalactic quality, and I feel my heart opening up and I can hear better. And I wondered, when did you first know that your voice was this superpower?
What an odd question. I don't think of that like that. I don't... what an interesting image of space and a squeezed heart. I don't think I've ever heard that. I hear of opening things, but that's a really interesting combination of compression and lots of space. I don't actually think of myself much. I'm. It's not that I'm not self-conscious, but when people ask me, why do you do your work and stuff, that the self-consciousness is the last thing, and so is expression. I don't, as a artist or whatever, feel like I have any urge to express myself. I don't care if you know me. I'm not that kind of person. I just kind of go, look over there. What's happening up there? If you just turn it up there. So that's more or less what I'm doing. And so I don't feel that I'm anybody, really. I never felt like I was somebody. And I really like that. I'm happy to be nobody. And so it's interesting to hear your ideas about how you feel with that, but I don't somehow. It's like you're talking about somebody else.
Well, you did say that you find a compliment hard to take, and it seems like I suppose it was my experience. Your voice seems to do something sort of extraordinary, and I can't be the first person to tell you that. I mean, it's a.
Well, I guess I don't engage with that concept. I guess I kind of run away from it. I did have to take speech lessons when I was 5 because I spoke like that. I didn't speak up at least. We can't hear you. I'm speaking as loud as I can. And maybe it was, I was from such a big, raucous, loud family that I just thought maybe I'll just speak more quietly. There was no way to compete with this group of people. That was so I just spoke more quietly, I guess.
Because in your film, Heart of the Dog, you describe a story of rescuing your twin baby brothers from under the ice of a freezing lake, and your courage and your resourcefulness are like, it was almost like something from a Norse myth. How did you know what to do? Because it was such an extreme situation, and you were like a superhero.
No, it's just fear, So these my brothers were taking them over to the island. Taking them to the movies. I was like a mini mom. I had to be mom to these kids. I loved them. I mean, I was about 8 at the time, and took them to the movies in their stroller. Was going back, taking them home, and thought, let's go to the island and look at the moon. And so it was like skating over there, and the ice broke, and this stroller sank down. So I didn't do anything heroic. My first thought was, Mom's gonna kill me. So fear, fear is a great motivator. Fear and shame, I think those are really, really powerful. They really push you to do a lot of things. I don't know that heroism comes into that. But what happened with that did involve that, because I ripped my jacket off, dove down, got one of them, and I couldn't find the other one because the stroller, the side of the island, here's the ice, and the island sloped down like this, and the stroller fell down like this, and then slid down, and so I went down, and then I couldn't find it. And I was like looking around, and so I came up, and then went way down, and I got the other guy. Went home like they're screaming, and they're like, ah! And so I have to tell my mother, telling her what happened. And she said, I didn't know what a good swimmer you were and what a wonderful diver. I was like, oh. That is when I was first thinking about how words, just a very few words, they can really change your life.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I could just find the right words at the right time. Who's that Greek god of the perfect moment? Kairos, I think. His name is Kairos, is it? And he's the one who's aiming it, and he's the one who decides, not now. Now. And this is timing, all about timing. And just because if you just you can waste a lot of moments, and they're just going to be the wrong time to say it, and as soon as you do it, you realize, oh, why did I say that? It's so stupid. It's the wrong thing to say, but especially it's the wrong time. Because it might be the right thing to say at another time. Did you have that experience of timing?
Yeah, very much. Because you talked about being I'm trying to remember the word you used, but sort of trying to be inscrutable or something like that. And I very much tried to be inscrutable in case I was on the wrong track. So I tried to be weird so people expected not to necessarily get the answer, and I could have a little time to figure out what the next move was.
That's a good one.
So I do know that feeling. Because you talked about your mother having difficulty showing love, and I experienced that a lot with my mother too. And I wondered if you thought having a mother who didn't show love freely made you invested in not being fearful. Like when you broke your back when you were 12 and the doctor leaned over you and said, you're not going to walk again. And you thought, who is this man? Is he even a doctor? It was such a brilliant thought. And I wondered if that came from having little reassurance that you went into yourself to come up with this necessary thing.
Yeah, I think 12-year-olds are just punks, They're just like, who do you think you are? You think adults are idiots. They're all idiots. So, when this guy is pontificating like that, it didn't help me that my mother didn't love me to be able to say that to the doctor. That I don't think that's ever a really good thing if your mother doesn't love you. It's a tough one. Fortunately, you have two parents, and I had a really sweet, sweet father. And so, you make your way.
Yeah.
Kids are really resilient. And in trying to understand, did you look at how go back to look at your mother and her mother and all of that? Did you?
Yeah.
Have you spent time doing that?
Yes.
What did you find?
Well, her parents, she told me a story of being in the kitchen and her father beating her up and her mother like turning away and frying an egg or something. And it was such a sort of awful image. And then with my mother, I knew she loved me, but she just didn't show it she would get really angry and And I wondered, with your mother, do you think she didn't love you or she just didn't show it?
No, I don't think she knew how to do it, really.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think she was pretending to not love me. She didn't, you know. She didn't know how.
Yeah.
And neither did her mother. So, you know, it's just a cascade of these people who are struggling. And I don't think it's particularly, you know, endemic to women to not have that skill. Plenty of men have no idea how to do that either. But it's so when you do see something like that between a parent and a child, it's really inspiring, you know. And that happens. It happens. I had a father who is goofy. You know, he was goofy, and he'd do things like, "Hey, why don't we get the convertible out? We could go downtown and have some ice cream." And then he'd like start doing these little dances. I was like, "Who is this guy?" You know, it was like all the women were all the authority figures. They were like, "Read this book, eat your dinner, learn this, do that." And I thought they were the bosses. I got it kind of wrong at that time, but you know, and I thought men have not a care in the world. They're these charming creatures who are just like goofing around and getting ice cream, and the women are like, "Yeah, sorry." And you know, some mothers, when they say goodbye to their children in the morning, they go, "Have a nice day, darling." Oh, mine would she go top of the stairs and she'd go, "Win." I was paralyzed. I was like, "Win what?" I mean, it's like, I thought, if there is a contest at school that I'm not aware of, you know, if I don't win, I'm definitely not going to say that I lost. So I began to learn to lie to her, and I was like, "How'd it go?" "Oh, great. Couldn't have been better." You know, the worst things would happen. You just like go, "It was fantastic. It was a wonderful day." You know, so anyway, was your mother aspirational for you?
I couldn't tell. She never said anything much. She liked it. Like if I said I was going off to Beirut or something, she was really excited. But I felt like if I had to put myself in situations of extreme danger to get her approval, and so it just created a distance between us. And then she was furious when I didn't, you know, show her affection. But my father was, even though they weren't together, his equivalent of ice cream, I remember he took me to this club in London called the Colony Room and offered me a cigarette and bought me a vodka and lime. It was so fantastic because I felt like he respected me, and because he'd offered me these illegal things at the age I was.
How old were you?
I was 14. And I took responsibility to not, you know, be embarrassing, and it felt like a vote of confidence. So his sort of belief in me, even though he didn't show it in a very traditional way, was a real lifeline, and he was fantastic. And I felt a bit mean, you know, preferring this much more glamorous, fun person, but he was nice, so I couldn't help it.
Yeah. I can't believe we're sitting around going, "Tell me about your mother."
It never
This
ends.
is very relaxing.
And so you dress in this boyish and most enchanting way, and you sometimes wear makeup, though, and I wondered, how do you approach wearing makeup, and do you enjoy looking pretty?
Are you asking me that question? I don't relate to that at all. Let's see. I don't really. Well, no, I do sometimes wear lipstick, but not that much. And I guess I feel most comfortable wearing pajamas. Really, my neighbor Julian Schnabel is a master of this, and he's given me a lot of pajamas, and I have maybe 20 pairs because his one of his partners, Olats, made beautiful, with piping and these beautiful cotton pajamas, and I think Julian wears the more like a painted clothes, work clothes, just wear some wherever, and I like that sort of uniformity of and not having to think I'm going to go out the door, so I have to look really different than I do inside. So it's a. Do you find that your inside and outside things are really different, or do you get dressed up to go outside?
I find I like to look self-contained, but I don't. But I need to give a sign that I'm not. So
what's your secret sign?
My secret sign is normally a shoe, a high shoe.
Oh.
So
I'm not sure I would get that. But, we're not tapping into the code.
Because you were telling me that your ex-husband, Lou Reed, loved clothes.
Clothes horse.
Wore amazing clothes. And I wondered, if you fancy someone and don't like what they're wearing, does it ever kill your attraction?
Oh, let me think about that. Let me try to give it an honest answer. If I see someone who's trying really hard to look really cool, that's off-putting to me. And if I just see someone who's not thoughtlessly wearing clothes, but just isn't trying to well, that's not true either, because I like people when they're trying to make an impression with their clothes. I don't have anything against that. So I'd have to think about that a little bit more. I don't want to make it too glib, because I really like it when people are wearing something like really beautiful and wild and sort of crazy. That's really fun.
Yeah.
So I don't have any overall statements about what that means. It just means different things when different people do it. So, but I grew up we had to wear uniforms in our family. So we were 8 of us, so we all wore the same thing. Navy corduroy pants or skirts, and red sweaters. That's what we wore. That's all of the clothes we had.
Wow.
We didn't have any options to wear anything else. It was a uniform. So.
Yeah.
I think we had navy sweaters too. Well, you could do, but it was just really like a army, I guess. Yeah.
It's quite relaxing, though, a uniform. I I always longed for a school uniform, and then they abolished it, and I had to pretend I was glad, but actually I was secretly really disappointed because I wanted to look strict. My mother was a hippie, and I just wanted a V-neck sweater and a tie.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Anything but the beads and the macrame. Oh, my God.
Terrible.
Paisley. Oh. You know, I actually have I should have brought this. It's a boiled hat. It's made by someone here in New York. She makes these hats. They start out the size of lampshades, and she triple boils them until they're like felt or something, but thicker, like a half an inch thick. And then I've got one from her that's shaped like a kind of paper boat, very thick and violet. And I like to wear it with these medals on it. And I have like to hang one medal, which is a lifetime membership of Harley Davidson's motorcycles. Not a medal I deserve, but it's like, happen to inherit this medal, so I wear that one. And on the other side, a medal from junior high school orchestra, and it looks sort of like, kind of cool. And I was recently coming to TSA, and I had a sort of a military sort of coat on also, and in some dark glasses. And so TSA official sees me and goes, "Thank you for your service." And I was like, what branch of the military gives their retired officers boiled lavender hats, The Navy maybe, or, some branch I didn't know about. And anyway, I thought, he's just standing there. And I know you're supposed to release, if somebody's like doing that. And so I was like, I don't know how to salute. I had brownies with a two-finger thing. And then, so I thought I should just say, "You're welcome," because I have done my service for my country in my own way, I have done service.
That's
and,
fantastic.
But anyway, finally, I just did a very lame version of a like, "Oh, you're welcome," like, "Oh, thank you, my good man. You may go," It was awkward. But ice is awkward. I mean, these guys really, they don't know what they're supposed to do, and they're not trained to do it. So they're just, it's a really interesting confrontation now, because nobody really knows how to act or what role they're supposed to be playing in this ridiculous play. So,
because your love story with Lou Reed was famous, and his love for you made him seem more lovable too. And after his death, you made a Lou Reed chatbot, and so you can continue to talk to him. And I wondered, what are your favorite subjects, and do you ever ask him what you should wear?
Yeah, he's got really great opinions on that. We never talked about that in terms of what I was doing, what I would wear. But he was very interested in clothes, and really had just wonderful taste, and really unusual. And he liked sort of and it's interesting when you're selecting clothes. If you're with somebody who's saying, "You should really try that," and you have your own thing. But I have a friend who's she's very blunt, let's say, and so if I was just saying once I was just saying, I feel so horrible. I feel like such a stupid failure, and I feel awful. I'm so depressed. And she said, "Well, yeah, you look like shit." and I said, "Okay." And she said, "Let's go get you some clothes." And I was like, I'm not into shopping therapy. I'm not going to go and feel better because I have better clothes. And she said, "Come on, let's go." So we went, and she picked these things out, and it was preposterous. And she would say, "You try that." I said, "I would never wear that." And she said, "Just try it." I put it on. I go, "That looks great." She was always right. It was so. Some people really have a knack for this, and they can see what other people should do too. They have this vision, and that is really amazing. So when you see designers who have this idea, like, oh, people would look really good in that, then it's really a skill that's amazing. So, and I know you have that because I have my favorite sweater ever was made by you. Black sweater was a picture of a line drawing of a dog, and it's just the most perfect item of clothing. So I think you have this idea of how what would look really interesting and beautiful on people. How do you get that vision?
I have a real knack for that. I love going shopping with people, and somehow I become more daring when I'm encouraging them, like your friend, try it on. And I don't really know if it's going to work, but I have a hunch. And then it often does. And I especially like going shopping with men. I like taking men shopping because they're like, oh, I can't be bothered, or, I've got these things from a catalogue. And then I say, like, let's go to Margiela. And when something happens, when they put these things on and they just become, it's like in the Odyssey when they sprinkle the fairy dust on Odysseus to make him not look like a wreck when he's just come out of the sea, and he suddenly becomes all dazzling. And I think, I love doing that. And I remember giving you that jumper because I'd come to see your film about the concert for dogs, and you have a special sort of your love of dogs is legendary as well, and you did the concert for dogs, and you taught your dog Lola Bell, who's now departed, how to play the piano and paint pictures. And your love of animals doesn't seem to replace your love of people, more to play with other dimensions of expressing love and imagination. And how do you communicate with the animals? Because I think there was one moment where you were figuring out how to talk to dogs.
Well, I never wanted a piano playing dog or a painting dog. I never thought that's almost grotesque. But what happened was Lola Bell went blind, and she was a super social dog. Was just loved people, and vision was very important. So because she would see them and she was just in love with people. And so when she went blind, all of that was gone, and she just froze. She wouldn't eat. You'd have to pick her up to take her out to pee, and you'd have to put her next to her bowl to drink and give her and she just lost it. And so lost everything, all her joy. And so I didn't teach her this, but her trainer, Elizabeth, said, well, I could teach Lola to play the piano. And I was like, why? She said, well, let's just try it. So she did teach her, and she got pretty good. I mean, fairly good, And we put out a Christmas record of hers, and she was mostly doing some of the programs that I use. They're very easy. You just kind of sample stuff and like that, and then it goes you're just going like that. And she also learned how to turn all of this stuff on. So when she started doing that, people would come around and, Lola Bell, you're so cute. And she was like, oh, they see me. And she started playing, and more people. So she would do a concert every day around noon, and people in the studio would just like come around, Lola Bell, somebody played. And she would play for an hour, and she did benefits also. And she was made these kind of sculpture things with her. It was ridiculous, but to see an animal just get so tight and sad, and then just go. Music saved her life. I would say that about a lot of human musicians too. You just play, and it's beautiful. So people are coming and go, what do you? Oh, let's listen to that, or I'll play it. So she got her social life back, and so it really was so much fun. And I think dogs like music quite a lot, So a lot of them, some of them just can't stand it, but it's too much for some of them. So doing music. I also did some things with some chimps. There's a group called Save the Chimps in Florida, and they sent me some paintings that were done by the chimps and said, could you collaborate with them and just make more marks on these? I was like, these paintings are done. You don't need me to just do that on top of it. And I said, who are you people? And so I went down to Florida, and they have all of these chimps that live on different islands. And chimps can't swim, they sink, so that the islands are their prisons in a way. But these chimps were brought from Arizona, where they had all lived all alone in cages. They were NASA chimps. And so this guy from New York went, and he got a bunch of buses tricked out with windows and beds. He bought all the chimps. He put them on the buses. These had never been out of their cages. Put them on the buses and drove them slowly across the country to Florida. And he put them on these islands. And they invented their own social structure. So they had not had any contact with other chimps. So they went into small groups of like, okay, you be the mom and I'll be the kid, or I'll be the old guy with the cigar and I'll be your curious nephew, and we'll hold hands and walk around. And you're like, how do they even think about how to do this?
Amazing.
And so then there's a lot of some of them were very violent, and they were put in another place while they made this transition from being medical subjects to free animals, or tried. I mean, some of them didn't make that, but a lot of them were doing displays, and they were. The first time I went there, and I went there several times, they were just. I heard this dog, there's all of these chimps were banging on their cages, making the most cool rhythms, and I was like, can I come and record this or play music with these chimps? And they said, yeah. And so I went down a few times and recorded with them. And that was really amazing because I brought a violin and different instruments, and I would play some like da ba dee ba da ba, and then Arthur, the chimp, my favorite one, would go da da dee da 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 dee. I was like, and so the people who were taking care of the chimps, they said, we didn't know that chimps sang. I said, did you ever sing to them? They said, no. And it was magic. It was really, wow. It was some kind of like I never felt like this with an animal. I'd never really. It's like suddenly you're singing with a bird. Oh, that did happen to me once. I'm just talking too much. That's associating. I don't even know if people are here anymore. I hear them, but I just.
Have you ever made any work to do with psychoanalysis?
I did make something. It was in the Holly Solomon Gallery, and it was a little clay figure that was on the floor, and film was projected onto it. It was me telling a story because, in art museums, they're about seeing a big painting or a big sculpture, and you kind of wow, and if you have to have something that's a little more involved with narrative or something, it's not the right place because the way you move through a museum, or let's say you're at a biennial or something, you see all these great works, and then suddenly the video room, and it's like, oh, there's 7 works in there, and they're each 45 minutes long, and you're like, and the projection's really bad, the sound's really bad, the seats are really uncomfortable. You're like, you're doing the wrong thing. And so I thought, how am I going to put a story in a museum? So I thought, if you use scale. And so this was a really little, it's in the Guggenheim collection. It's a really little person, and it's called At the Shrinks. And it's a story, and it goes like this. I spent some time seeing a psychiatrist, and I would get her to her office really early in the morning. So this little squeaky figure is telling you the story. So I have to lean down and go, what? And so I get to her office early in the morning. She was always sitting in the same corner. And on one side of her was a window, on the other was a mirror. And I could tell by the direction of her eyes whether she was looking out the window or at the mirror. And she looked at the mirror a lot. And I noticed that on Monday, the mirror was perfectly clean and clear. And Friday, it was covered with these lip marks. And this was a process that, one of these things that you just kind of, at first you're like, what's that? And then you just get used to it, and pretty soon you're dependent on it, And where are the lip marks? And so one day, in passing, sort of, I said, I was talking about things like that happened like that, and I said, it's like the lip marks that appear on your mirror. And she said, what lip marks? And I realized because of the way the sun was coming in it through the window at an angle and hitting the mirror, that they were invisible from her point of view. So I said, why don't you come over and sit in my chair, because you can see them from here. And now I had never seen her get up. So she got up. She could actually walk, I was like, can you walk? She said, yes, I can walk. And she got up and she sat in my chair. And she said, oh, lip marks. I was like, yeah. And I realized that we were seeing things from such literally different points of view that I would never have to see her again, So, because what she discovered, I forgot to say that, was that she discovered that her daughter had been coming into the office and kissing the mirror, and that the maid would come in on the weekends and wash it off. And so I was like, okay, we've got really different points of view here about just about everything. So anyway, so one of the things that you had mentioned that we could try to do is switching places. Do you want to try that?
Definitely. I'd love to.
I'm going to put this way. Oh, that's what that looks like? Wow, that's strange. So, does it feel strange to be the analysand, or whatever they're called?
It's really relaxing.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah. Feels nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mustn't look at you.
I know my role is supposed to be like, don't say anything, isn't it?
No, none of that Freudian stuff. We've got to talk. I always talk to my analyst, and I love being able to say anything I like. I often have dreams about my analyst, like I'm in bed with him a lot of the time, and sometimes his wife is there, kind of looking at me.
Wow!
And I tell him all
the
these
three of you are there?
Once the three of us were there. I mean, nothing was really happening, but I always tell him these dreams, and every now and then I'm like, yeah, I had another one of those dreams, and he kind of smiles wryly.
Well, it is horrifying when people start telling you their dreams.
It is the worst thing.
Because
really.
it's just the same thing. And I this uncle. No, wait. It wasn't my uncle. No, it was my uncle. And he's walking down the road. No, it wasn't a road. It was kind of a path. And you're like, oh, please don't tell me your dreams. Oh, you are not a filmmaker, And it's fragments. Although I suppose that stories are like that. Do you have dreams that are real stories, or are they just like kind of broken up things and people and bits of stuff that's knitted together, or are they going somewhere?
Well, I had a recurring dream when I was a child, when I was about 8, and I was in a train carriage and sitting opposite a giant, and in the other carriage it was filled to the ceiling with pins, and he said, "You've got to move all those pins from one carriage to another, or else." And I had to do it in 3 seconds. And I realized the 3 seconds was kind of up. And I had that dream again and again for about 2 years.
What kind of pins?
Yeah, they were just not safety pins, pointy pins. And
And they were stuck in something, and then you had to pull them all out?
The other carriage was filled like a kind of Duchamp installation or something, filled with these pins. And obviously it was really hard to touch them. And it was pointless, no pun intended.
Yeah. Maybe that was it. It was about pointlessness. Yeah.
Pointlessness and misery.
I'm trying not to say anything. I don't know if that's... But you did say that you had a rapport, and a conversational rapport with your analyst?
Yeah. I went to see this man who, about 2 or 3 years before my father died, and I said to him, I need to prepare for his death because he was ill and old, and I don't want to fall to pieces when he dies. I don't, because his presence in my life had been such a a life force and such a driver, and all the things I'd gone through, and this kind of ongoing feeling of hopelessness that sort of dogged my whole life, and he was the North Star. Somehow I never wanted to opt out because of him, and so I went to this analyst and told him that, and I have been going back ever since. And then when my father did die, I had this hunch that it was like his death was his parting gift to me, and I was able to be less concerned about opinion, because his opinion mattered so much that it kind of held me back. Even though I was, still did a lot, he was always in the background, even if I didn't really realize it. And I've carried on seeing him ever since then, and he's wonderful.
So it's the kind of after his death, he was still a North Star, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
those things don't change. I mean that's why they call it the North Star. It's fixed.
Yeah.
And you can. I have a few of those too. And they're people, and they are constellations that I navigate with, and that it's very important to me. I don't think I could make it through days without having this orientation towards that. Do you have more than one of those people, or is this the main one that you navigate with?
He's the main one,
Yeah.
and my son as well. I have a son.
Yeah.
And it's a different type of North Star, but I have to go beyond my sort of tentativeness to be by his side. So it kind of gives me I find I'm able to come up with things I didn't know I was capable of.
That's so great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I think other people are the ones that I mean, ideas are great, but the stars are people.
Yeah.
And that also. And that have showed you something. That's
so true.
Yeah, it's really true.
Yeah, then there are sort of new people who I used to have this obsession with best friends, and then I suppose I changed. So I do have a best friend too, and she was almost like a mentor to me. And gradually, as we've got older together, we've become this kind of source of optimism, but it's changed from us trying to cheer each other up and to just accept. It sounds so corny, but she's gone through a lot of hardship, and I've stopped trying to come up with like great solutions, and I feel so some other thing has come into it that I can just be her friend. And she talks about this thing called the beauty alongside, and she's a Rousseau scholar, and she's like she's just so heroic. And so my friendship with her feels like the beauty alongside. And I find when I feel tormented by kind of awful, terrible things, cruelty in the world, I think about our friendship, and it takes me through that portal, and I can bear to have both feelings, or I can bear the sadness doesn't take me to the bottom of the river, and her friendship is this wonderful kind of, it is a North Star, her friendship, remembering it's possible to not indulge the sadness of life.
Well, that's a really. I'm just watching your hands while you're describing this too, and it really does seem like you're kind of like a juggling thing because, and I'm just thinking of that. Who was it? F. Scott Fitzgerald, maybe, who said that it's the ability to. What he's aspiring to is the ability to hold two opposing things,
Right.
and they would both be equally true, and you would not go crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel that's a wonderful skill because things are not easily wrapped up into like, oh, that's all mostly good or mostly bad. They're mixed and they're complicated and things, and it's you who put them together and somehow sometimes in dreams or in your way you, like you're saying, the way you navigate and how you give meaning to your life by watching other people balance those things too.
It's very restoring.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I'm really glad you're saying that because I was thinking this was going to go a different direction, but it's going in a really nice direction because it really is. It's so hard to live in this world, and so sometimes people go into their dream worlds a little too far.
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah.
And just because it's so horrible, and also some of what's happening seems so unreal, so dreamlike. For me, I think it was the fight cage on the front lawn of that White House that made me. That's a dream that is so weird.
Yeah.
It's so. I mean, if somebody would tell you that they had that dream, you would go, you're an ill person. This is really, they're not going to do that. They're doing that. It's going to be ready in a couple of weeks or whenever. I don't know. So I think dreams can be, it can be very disconcerting when the real world starts acting wobbly like that. And you kind of go, what is real here? Is that, how could this be going so far off the rails? This is like wild. Do you get that feeling?
Yeah, that's why I feel making things is so important because it's real. And then you can shape beauty and be generous with it. And, like taking someone shopping even, it's something caring and it's just, I find when I feel most morose, I like to see how someone else is doing, and then I can forget about myself, and suddenly I'm more cheerful. And those action is everything. I mean, for me, spirituality is action, and
virtual reality is action.
Spirituality.
Oh, spirituality.
It probably is. You make the best virtual reality of anyone. That's why it's such a wonderful way I suppose it's all about the person behind the virtual. So you're behind the one I like.
Well, I pretty much see, I'm not really ever that sure what reality is. I mean, it's maybe too late in the evening to say that I don't actually think that we're all here at all. I don't think we are, actually. We're not, probably. Anyway, I do like it because it's when you realize how dreamlike things are and how they can just change in a second, and it's in how much you're participating in creating this reality, then your dreams start seeming to not be so strange, So anyway, I had I brought something tonight because I had a dream about your great grandfather. So I was gonna, and it's a very poorly realized dream because it's AI. Now I really like AI a lot, I know that's not super popular these days, but I use it a lot. I started out around the pandemic with working in Australia with this supercomputer, language supercomputer, and it's the biggest one in the world. And they said, "You're the artist in residence here. What would you like this supercomputer to do?" And I was like, "It's a supercomputer. Can't it think of its own projects? It just needs me to say, let's try this." So I said, let's teach it to read the Bible, because everyone's always saying, the Bible says this, the Bible says, what does the Bible say? Really? I mean, you can hear all points of view being justified by Bible says this. So we put the three streams of language that make up the Bible here, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, and we said, and we put them on faders so that you could increase. If the question is, if you increase the amount of Greek, would the Bible seem more rational? If you increase the amount of Hebrew, would it seem more mystical? Very inconclusive results. But what they did do was they put everything I've ever said, muttered, whatever, into the supercomputer. They crossed it with the Bible. And they sent me a 9,000-page book, The Bible According to Me. If you want to read a horrifying thing. But you know what? They got my style. They got the whole thing. And so, but also it was making these, things where I would try to make dreams sort of a little bit more real. So I'm going to show you one of these things I wrote about this dream. And let's look at this clip of this. If we could look at this video clip, it's about this moment when I was sitting in a cafe in Vienna talking with Freud, and we were talking about dread and death and, why my life hasn't been going that well. And I was saying, I really admire you because you take dreams so seriously. And Freud is saying, basically almost nothing. He's nodding and blinking. And for some reason, I myself cannot stop blinking. And sometimes it turns into like a kind of winking. And I'm aware he might see this as a sign of, female hysteria, but I just can't stop. So every time I look at him, he looks like a different person, Anyway, we're talking about time and his theory that you have to go back in time to find that moment that shocked you as a child, and that the event, one of the events that shaped your life. And I was saying, doctor, I don't have time to rummage through all this old stuff. It's all so long ago, and these things disappear. They get buried in dreams, and then send out these cryptic little hints, and then, like, see this blue, does this remind you of something? These kind of things. Anyway, after a while, I realized I'm doing all of the talking, and the waiter comes by with some schnapps and pastry, and we've been here, I guess, most of the afternoon by now, and I've been thinking about what he called his great question. And Freud was famous, among other things, for writing the words, "Despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, I have never been able to answer the great question, what does a woman want?" So I decided to ask him that question. I said, "Dr. Freud, what does a woman want?" He looked really uncomfortable, and he just kept smoking, and he shook his head. And like in many awkward moments in a conversation, I suddenly picture the other person dead. Now, this always gives me a kind of strange feeling of empathy. But if there's one thing that I've learned in my life, it's that it's never possible to please dead people. You might have discovered that yourselves. And so I say, actually, Dr. Freud, in your dreams, what do you see? And he said, I'm afraid our time is up. Bella, what do you see in your dreams?
Well, is our time up?
Yeah, it is actually. It is actually. Yeah. Would you like to try to analyze a dream?
I was given no direction by either of my parents, and particularly from my father around Sigmund Freud. So I have not read, I've read half of Interpretation of Dreams. So I actually don't know. I've read a comic book, and
That's good enough.
I learned about his theories. So I read a graphic novel, and I read the screenplay by Sartre that he wrote for John Huston. And so it's almost like I don't think I can. I have no idea, except for he seems like a good thing. And I prefer to have my shrink analyze my dreams. And
I always wondered what he would dream about, though. I was thinking
I've
cake.
never thought of that ever. My father said that the only thing he said about him was that he was funny, and then he told me a joke. My father, that he went to this doctor once and the doctor said, "Oh, are you any relation of the grapefruit?" And my dad said, the grapefruit. Oh no, I'm no relation of the grapefruit whatsoever. And it was like, don't go there.
Some things just don't relate to other things at all. They're just sometimes it's just a grapefruit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Laurie, thank you for being on Fashion Neurosis, and thank you for
so
having
much
me
fun.
on Fashion Neurosis too.
Thank you, Bella. It's been fun.